So we have a track covers 40 meters in 8.5 seconds. So let's try to draw. Initial velocity unknown, and it covers 40 meters. Let's call it x, and its final velocity becomes 2.8 meter per second, and 40 meters time 8.5 seconds. So question: find original speed, velocity, basically initial velocity. Acceleration is also unknown. But we know that acceleration is constant, so we can write few equations. So final velocity square equal to initial velocity square minus 2ax. Let's try this one. So in this equation we have two unknowns, basically initial velocity and the acceleration unknown. Let's use second equation. Final velocity equal to initial velocity minus at. Here also again we have two unknowns, initial velocity and the acceleration. So we have at the moment two equations, two unknowns. So basically in terms of math, in terms of logic, we can solve this problem. So let's continue with this one. From here v2 v1 minus v2 will be equal to 80. From here acceleration equal to v1 minus v2 over time, and we can use this acceleration in equation number 1. So v2 square equal to v1 square minus 2ax, a equal to v1 minus v2 over time times x. So now we have one equation and only one unknown. v1 is unknown, so we need to solve this equation, this formula. So I will rewrite this equation again. v2 square equal to v1 square 2v1x minus 2v2x over time. So basically here we have a quadratic equation, v1 square v1. So let's multiply both parts by t. So first is just totally mass. v2 square times time equal to v1 square times time minus 2v1x plus negative it will be positive 2v2x. Here we have a one unknown, v1, it's just matter of time, quadratic equation, we need to solve this one. v1 square time minus 2v1x plus 2v2x minus v2 square time equal to 0. So let's input datas. v1 unknown, time is 8.5 v1 square minus 2v1 40 meters x equal to 2 times final velocity 2.8, distance 40 minus 2.8 square times time 8.5 equal to 0. So 8.5 v1 square minus 80 v1, so this part will be equal to plus 157.36 equal to 0. So this is a mathematical equation, quadratic equation, so it has two answers, but in terms of physics we need to choose one of them. So v1 equal to quadratic equation 80 plus minus 80 square minus 4 times 8.5 times 157.36 over 2 times 8.5. This is just simple math. Let's see. So 80 plus or minus 32.4 over 17. So we have two possible answers in terms of mass. So first answer, let me use positive sign there. We'll get 6.6 approximately meter per second. Second possible answer, let me use negative sign, 80 minus 32.4 over 17 equal to 2.8 meter per second. So we know that this is a motion with decreasing velocity, decreasing speed, and the final velocity becomes 2.8. So we expect that v1 initial velocity greater than 2.8. Here we have only one option, 6.6. This is 2.8, which is in terms of mass correct, but in terms of physics, this is impossible. So this means motion with constant velocity, because final velocity also 2.8. But here we expect initial velocity greater than 2.8, which is 6.6. So for our problem, initial velocity is 6.6. Now, second question, we will find acceleration. So now we can come back to this equation, for example. Now we know the initial velocity's value 6.6, final velocity 2.8 over time is 8.5. From here, acceleration will be equal to 0.44, approximately 0.45, maybe we can round it. So this is acceleration, of course, with negative value. Negative means velocity is decreasing, or direction of acceleration is opposite to the motion, meter per second square. So this is acceleration, and this is initial velocity.